Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and so it's 2 weeks till Saturnine drops, okay, properly, so you've got your pre-orders done, or whatever you're getting, and wow, this should be, in my opinion, the best time to start planning your army. You know, what themes you want to do, what models you want to get. You really want to get into it and really start planning it. And I would have, like I did with the old world, spent these 2 weeks going over different legions and talking about what I would do and how I would build it. However, now with the leaks and rumours circling, it seems like this might be a tad more difficult, with certain models getting, items and war gear removed, units no longer available as such and such and such and such. Now, the problem with this is, and it is a problem with Games Workshop in particular, they have a bad habit of doing this. They did it with Age of Sigmar. They dropped so many Stormcast Eternals just before the new Age of Sigmar dropped. So now they're doing it with Horus Heresy. Now, the thing is, when it comes to a new edition of Wargaming, there should never be a point where you go, oh, what do I need to do? And you have to wait until the edition drops. This period of time, when you first learn about it to when it's dropped, it should be a time of excitement and, getting those creative juices really, really flowing and saying, right, I want to do blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, I want to do an Air Force for Solar Auxilia. I want to do an artillery army for Ultramarines, which is what I'm doing. I'm doing a tank army for Ultramarines. But this is what it should be. You should be looking at your armies and looking at through the old Liber books and going, what do I want to do with this army? This new edition, do I want to do something new? Do I want to add to my previous legion? Do I want to go for Crusade Force? Multiple different factions all in one loyalist or traitor banner. What do you want to do? But when there's bits in the kits you can't even use, it becomes a lot more difficult. It even means magnetizing might not be an issue anymore. You might not be able to magnetize anymore because, models will have set loadouts, which you have to have. Tanks will have to have such and such weapons. I avoid leaks and rumors like the plague because, one, I actually don't think they're leaks. I actually think they are actually released by Games Workshop. That's in my opinion. I think they are released. I think they're released to build hype. But this time it's backfired because of its poor implementation. And I've said this before. I'll say it again, that these leaks are done through proper channels. It's a part of Games Workshop. That is why I believe, like a whistleblower for the Pentagon. They are told what they can and can't say. Same with these links. They are told what they can and cannot show. So that is the problem. I mean, if you want to start an army, I've always said, and I always wrote it, like, don't wait for the codex. You plan your army, build your army, go for the models that you think look the coolest, and all of that. And that's what you should be doing. And that's probably the best way to do it, because you're going to get more fun out of it, because you're putting a bit more of yourself into your army. You're putting a spin on it that maybe might not be only original to you, but it's personal to you because it's how you want your army to look. Like I said, I'm doing tanks for Ultramarines. I've just finished my Walker Blood Angel army, and I don't know if I've got to go through my bits and remove parts of my Walkers just to make sure that they are legitimate to the game now. And that is not something I would want to do. I don't want to go back and start remodeling models that I've already painted or built. I want them to stay as they are, and they should stay as they are. There's no real reason for Games Workshop to start doing this now at this close to a new edition. And especially with such a narrative game, such as Horus Heresy, that it shouldn't be a problem. These are things we read in the books and what we read in the novels and in the lore, and that's one of the best things about Horus Heresy. It's being so narratively driven that we can make our own stories. But I also got a feeling that because they've taken a step back to the Saturnine era, which, by the way, once again, wasn't really at the Horus Heresy. Saturnine wasn't there. They started at Mark III, not Mark II. The Saturnine armor was pretty much obsolete at this point. This Mark II armor was obsolete at this point. So they wouldn't have been really using this at this time. These would have been small skirmishes that might have been part of it. You know, when two legions sort of had a bit of a Barney over some slight they think they had, or something like that. But yeah, this here is it feels like a step back. It feels like that Games Workshop don't know what they have. A lot of the original creators are gone, and so Games Workshop are like, what do we actually have here? And they don't actually know. They're like, oh, people really like Saturnine because of the memes. It's like, yeah, we're memeing it because it looks silly, it looks daft. It's not means that we want it, and if it doesn't fit in the narrative as well, that's something else that needs to be addressed. If it's not fitting in the narrative, then it needs to be removed. That sounds like I'm nitpicking here, because what I can actually see Games Workshop doing in the future, and something that is probably going to start happening, is we're going to see a lot of the Firstborn Marine models, the Razorback, the Mars pattern stuff, the Stormhawks, Stallions, Ravens, etc., are going to be moved to the Horus Heresy section. Whether or not the armor is there, such as the Mark 10 armor, which is in the Tactical Marine Squad, which is somehow going to be, Mark 8 armor, not Mark 10, I do apologize. Mark 10's Primaris. Mark 8 armor. And it's going to be there now. It's like, oh yeah, this was right at the end of the Horus Heresy when this one was created, etc., etc., right? And that's what's going to happen. We're going to see all these Firstborn stuff moving over, and we're going to see second editions of Liber books, like the second edition Liber Astartes and second, stuff like that. And this kind of reminded me back in the old days, back when I first started, when a codex dropped, the models weren't always made. They weren't there available. It gave you time to kit bash. Some weren't even ever available, like they never came out. But it gave you time to kit bash, gave you time to build these characters, etc. And then they would, release the model, but not at the same time as the codex. So, but now, because when they release models, they got to release a book with it, with the rules, rather than having the rules previously written already in the book, and, like I said, giving people time to kit bash what they want to make. It's just this idea that Games Workshop don't really know what they have. They're stuck in this idea that they think they know what Warhammer 40k is about. They think they know what Horus Heresy is about, but they really don't. They write the novels, they write the lore, but the wargaming side, the building side, that's the bit that they are sort of confused about. That's the bit they don't know what it is. It's alien to them. It feels alien. This is why there's so many better companies making better games, because they know what they got. They know what their customer base is. They know how to deal with all of this. And they do it well compared to what Games Workshop are doing, which is haphazard at best and complete mess at worst. But anyway, like I said, this is just should be a time when people are getting excited. They're getting excited of what to come, what to build, how to plan their armies, and all of that. But Games Workshop has seemed to have ignored this. They seem to be unaware of the personal side of wargaming, where people are excited about their model and they're excited about what they want to do, and they just drop the ball on it. Anyway, and as for those £16, £48, sorry, this is going to just be a little bit of a rant at the end. 48 pages at £17. Was it £16, £17? That's a magazine. That's a magazine. That's not even a White Dwarf size magazine. See, there's no reason to buy that book. It's just completely stupid. 16 quid, that's ridiculous money for something as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a good day, and I hope to see you all again soon in the next video. And hope everyone's going well. And if you wish to save money on your wargaming and you want to try something else, which I would definitely suggest, such as Kings of War, it's a fantastic game, go for Wild West Exodus. It's the best game out on the market, in my opinion, and you should give that a go. go down to Wailing Games down below. It's up to 20% off and free delivery after £20. There's also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas, and all that cool stuff. There's my merchandise as well if you want to support me personally. There's stickers, t-shirts, comics, my comics down there as well. If you want to give them a read, I think they're interesting. If you want to see Little Red Riding Hood, go absolutely ham on some Lovecraftian cyborg werewolves. Or if you want to buy this cheaper one, which is just a horror anthology, and you get to see some teenagers being ripped apart by a tentacly monster. There is also Skyforge, a good friend of mine. Get him up the Google algorithm as always. And finally, Patreon, because business. Thank you for watching and have a good day.